Hi, Sarah here. Welcome back. That film, Everything Everywhere All at Once, that's the theme of these tarot spreads today. If you have not seen the film Everything Everywhere All at Once in its entirety, nay, if you haven't watched it at least 3 times like I have, stop this video, do not pass go, do not collect $200, go watch that film right now. Again, go watch it at least 3 times like I did, and then you may come back to this video. There will be spoilers ahead for this film, for the happenings in the film and or the character arts and the themes in the film. So again, I just really recommend that you watch the movie for yourself first so as not to be spoiled, and then come back here after you've watched it. This film is just an enigma. It cannot be explained or described for you to capture the message in its entirety. It's just a film that you have to experience for yourself. And again, maybe watch a few times to really let the messages sink in. This film portrays so much of the complexities and the nuance of being a child of immigrant parents. I've been thinking about this film recently, especially it being Lunar New Year, and especially while I personally am just working through and exploring a lot more of my own family history and family cultural values. So I came up with 5 different tarot spreads based on each of the main characters in Everything Everywhere All at Once. The 5 main characters being EVELYN Wong, WAYMOND Wong, Joy or JOBU TUPAKI, GONG GONG, the grandpa, and DEIRDRE, who I initially forgot the name of at first, so I wrote her name in my notes as Tax Lady, but her real name is DEIRDRE. These spreads, these questions are more like shadow work type spreads. They're definitely meant to help us look at the shadows of ourselves, look at things that we might have trouble acknowledging or bringing to light, and they also help us speculate about an alternative future, an alternative outcome for what we might think is happening. One theme of the multiverse hopping in this film is that the main character realizes that her life could actually be really different from the current life that she knew. She has her mind widened and her worldview broadened because she gets to experience all these different multiverses, either on her own or with someone else leading her through these different universes. So these tarot spreads have a sort of shadow work aspect to them, and also a little bit of a multiverse aspect to them, in that it helps us look ahead and try to speculate what might the outcome look like differently if I did things differently. Oftentimes, it's easy to assume or get complacent in the ways that we're currently behaving, to think that whatever we're doing now is the best way, and whatever outcome we can foresee is totally guaranteed. So these spreads that I came up with will hopefully help open your mind and let you speculate on some different outcomes, some different ways to behave. Each of these spreads has 3 cards, and of course they could just be journal prompts, they could be tarot spreads, and you could build upon them by drawing more cards for each question, or drawing clarifier cards, drawing follow-up cards, asking follow-up questions based on these spread positions. So now, getting to the spreads. The first spread I got is the EVELYN spread, based on EVELYN Wong, the main character. The 3 questions are: 1. What am I unsatisfied with that I need to acknowledge? 2. How is my dissatisfaction affecting people around me? 3. How might my life look different if I changed this? To explain the reasoning or the premise behind the spread, one big part of EVELYN's character arc in the movie is that she learns that she is deeply unsatisfied with her life in a lot of ways, but she isn't really proactive enough to do anything about it or to change anything about her circumstances or the way that she behaves in the world. EVELYN's dissatisfaction with her life and with her business, her circumstances, her relationship with her daughter, it really starts to affect people around her to the point that her daughter is depressed and her husband wants to divorce her. So the EVELYN spread is all about exploring what we might be dissatisfied with at this time. What are we not happy with that we're really not aware of, that we need to acknowledge, because this unhappiness, this dissatisfaction is bleeding into our interactions with other people. And the spread helps us speculate how might our lives be different if we try to change our own dissatisfaction. Maybe we have to look at things differently. Maybe there are things that we have to actually do to change our circumstances. It's up to you to interpret what actually has to change, whether it's an internal change or an external change. The second spread I've got is the Joy spread, based on Joy, EVELYN's daughter. The spread positions are: 1. What am I afraid to express? 2. How is this affecting the rest of my life? 3. How might my life look different if I expressed this? The basis for the Joy spread, or the JOBU TUPAKI spread, is I felt that one part of Joy's character arc throughout the whole movie is that she did not feel confident enough to express her deep dissatisfaction with her parents, especially her mom. There were ways that she was roundaboutly expressing her dissatisfaction, but I don't think she ever like really came forward and said, you are the problem. You are the one that's causing me to be this way. I feel trapped because this, and this. It was only like in the middle of the movie when we saw JOBU TUPAKI that JOBU TUPAKI was the one who talked to EVELYN about how deeply depressed her daughter was and how dissatisfied that Joy was with her relationship with her mom. But Joy, without the spirit of like JOBU TUPAKI, like didn't say these things to her mom. She just kind of put up with it. So the purpose of the Joy spread, the JOBU TUPAKI spread, is to look at what are we afraid to express. Is there something that we are hoping that maybe someone else will just kind of express for us? That maybe we'll just be saved by someone else? How is this like repressing what we're not expressing? How is this affecting the rest of our lives or our relationships? And we'll speculate on how might our lives look different if we actually express this thing in our heart. And a note with this spread and with like all the other spreads here is that speculating about different outcomes, you don't have to feel shame about like the way your current choices are or the way that your current outcome is. My intention with these spreads and these questions is not to bring shame or to make you feel bad, because everyone has different circumstances. Hindsight is 2020, you know, like we always say, oh, if I knew differently back then, I would be doing differently. This is a chance for us to kind of speculate, like, so that future us can be like, oh, I wish I knew differently, so I would have done differently. What would future us say, you know, if they were looking at our circumstances now? Would they say, I wish I'd done things differently? Or would they say, you know, I am doing the best that I can with what I know now? So definitely just have compassion for your past self and your present self as you're going through these spreads. Again, they're not meant to make you feel shame or feel bad that you're not like doing anything differently or better. They're just ways for you to neutrally explore, like maybe how might things be different? Maybe they will be worse if you're doing differently. Who knows, you know? The next spread I've got is the WAYMOND spread, based on Waymond Wong, EVELYN's husband and Joy's dad. This spread is best done when you have someone in mind that you dislike or don't feel that connected with. So keeping that person in mind, the questions here are: 1. How are we similar? 2. What wisdom do they offer that I'm overlooking? 3. How might I change if I were more open to them? The basis for the WAYMOND spread is that for most of the movie, EVELYN takes her husband for granted. She sees him as weak. She sees a lot of qualities in him that she just dislikes, even though there was a time at one point when they were deeply in love, and she did really love him. Throughout the film, she has a lot of contempt for him. She feels that they've grown apart. But throughout the movie, she learns all the different ways that he actually brings value in her life, ways that she might have forgotten before and or is learning for the first time. This WAYMOND spread is definitely a shadowy type spread because oftentimes I feel that it is necessary or helpful for me to remember that the person that I dislike so much, there are similarities that I might have with them. Am I possibly projecting things that I don't like about myself onto them? Is it possible that there may be some good, some wisdom that I can get from my relationship with them, or just being around them, or just them as a person? It's easy for us to only want to be around people that we like and only feel connected with like all the time, but maybe consider that there might be something for you to learn from this person that you dislike or don't feel connected with. Maybe there is some value, some wisdom that you can glean from them that maybe you've overlooked before. And is it possible that you might change as a person if you are more open to this person? Again, back to my earlier point though, this is a neutral question. It is entirely possible that if you were more open to them, your life would be worse. But, you know, there's no harm in exploring the question, right? The fourth spread is the GONG GONG spread, the grandpa spread. The questions here are: 1. Where am I being stubborn? 2. How is this affecting me or people around me? 3. What might help me feel less stubborn? This one isn't as multiversy because the third one is about what might help me feel less stubborn instead of how might my life look different. I'm sure you could totally ask that question, how might my life look different if I was less stubborn? The premise for the Gong Gong spread is that grandpa's stubbornness does lead to a lot of problems that translate down the line through the family generations. Like, because of Gong Gong's stubbornness, EVELYN is still constantly looking for her dad's approval, and you know, she's dissatisfied with her relationship with her dad, but her dad is too stubborn to make any, you know, accommodations or compromises to see his daughter for who she is. And EVELYN's dissatisfaction then translates to her rocky relationship with Joy. She's wondering, why doesn't Joy do the things that she approves of? I feel that Gong Gong spread and the EVELYN spread are pretty similar, talking about stubbornness and dissatisfaction. Nonetheless, consider if there is room for you to explore, are there ways that you're being stubborn? And is that stubbornness helping or hindering your relationships around you? Is it helping or hindering your growth? And the third question might be helpful here. What might help me feel less stubborn? Is there anything that can help you open your mind a little bit? Is there anything that would help you feel more comfortable to let go a little bit? And the last spread here is the tax lady spread, or the Deirdre spread. The questions here are: 1. What unhelpful behavior am I perpetuating? 2. Why am I afraid to acknowledge this? 3. How might life be different if this behavior changed? The premise for the tax lady spread, or the Deirdre spread, this spread could be about Deirdre herself, but I see it more as Evelyn's relationship with Deirdre. For most of the film, Evelyn sees Deirdre, the tax lady, as an adversary. Deirdre's not here to help Evelyn. Deirdre is just here to be mean and just block her and do all these things that Evelyn hates and just generally be an unlikable person. And because of this misconception, Evelyn's behavior towards Deirdre is also very cold and very unaccommodating. Evelyn doesn't want to work with the tax lady to help make her taxes better. She wants to fight and oppose. And later in the movie, when Evelyn finds out in an alternate universe that, she and Deirdre were a thing, Evelyn still doesn't want to go along with it and learn more about Deirdre. She's still digging her heels in, trying to be stubborn, trying to be unhelpful, and just, again, trying not to cross to Deirdre's side. The first question here, what unhelpful behavior am I perpetuating? I feel this could also apply to Evelyn's beliefs around her taxes and the way that she operates her laundry business. Like, Evelyn is putting all of her personal expenses, like a karaoke machine and all these other things, onto the business expense report. And that's not what the expense report is for. But because Evelyn doesn't want to let go of this behavior, it's causing more problems between her and the tax lady. My accountant would totally have a bone to pick with me if I put personal expenses on my business expense report. That's just how the rules work. So the purpose of the spread is to explore, what unhelpful behavior are we perpetuating? Why are we not acknowledging this? Why don't we want to acknowledge, how hurtful or how unhelpful it is? And again, just speculate, how might life be different if we did something differently, if we did the work to do something differently? So those are the 5 spreads I came up with for the characters for Everything Everywhere All at Once, one of my favorite all-time films. I feel like every time I watch the film, I feel very connected to and attached to a different character. The first watch, I definitely resonated most with Joy, the child of the immigrants, but then the next watches, I connected with and empathized more with Evelyn and Waymond, and even Jamie Lee Curtis or Deirdre the tax lady. The characters in this film are just so dynamic, and there's just so much to explore and to love about each one. So again, if any of these spreads really connect with you, let me know. They are pretty shadowy type spreads, so do take your time with them and think them through. And again, like I said, the premise of these spreads is not to cause shame, not for making yourself feel bad about the ways that you are or the things that you're doing. Again, this is just introspection. Maybe they would be better. Maybe they would be worse. But it's just a thought exercise, neutral thought exercise, no shame needed. Let me know which spread or which character you related to the most. And again, everything is listed in the description for your convenience. That's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching. Bye.
When I read the script, I thought, no, this is something I've been waiting for a long time. That's going to give me the opportunity to show my fans, my family, my audience, what I'm capable of. To be funny, to be real, to be sad. Finally, somebody understood that I can do all these things.